Hello, hello, and welcome. We are super excited to have y'all piling in here. So come on, come on. Hope that internet is going fast for you. My name is Jay, and I am your StriveScan facilitator for this evening. We have 6 great schools with 6 minutes to give you a bunch of quick hits about what they have to offer. So we are super excited to welcome you to the Bay Area Case Studies Virtual College Fair. Again, my name is Jay. I am your StriveScan facilitator, and we have 6 great schools with just 6 minutes to go over what they have to offer. So a few housekeeping announcements first before we get started, and then I'll hand it on over to our presenters. But you can use the Q&A button at the top or bottom of your screen at any time. We encourage it. Ask these great admissions counselors and staff some great questions so they can get info to you. Your audio, your video, all of that is off. So you can see and hear us, but we cannot see and hear you. Also, this is just one of many sessions that are always happening here with StriveScan. And this presentation is being recorded. So within about 1 week, if you want to get this recording because your internet goes out, forgot someone's contact info, or any other miscellaneous thing that happens, at strivescan.com/BACS, you'll be able to get this recording in about 1 week. Now I'm going to stop talking, stop sharing, and pass it on over to Wake Forest University.
Thank you, Jay. And I will get my screen up and shared with y'all. Where's that present button? Perfect. Okay, awesome. So hello, everybody. My name is Morgan Werkamp. I'm an assistant dean of admissions here at Wake Forest University. And today I hope that I can share a little bit more about Wake in the next 6 minutes. Of course, at the end, I'll give you all my email address. That way, if you have any questions, it'll be really easy to connect with me. So first, I guess I'll start with what is Wake? Wake is a small, medium-sized liberal arts college. We are located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So roughly a couple hours from the beach, a couple hours from the mountains. In terms of our school size, we have roughly 5,000 undergraduate students and 2,800 grad students. So I stress those numbers because I think it's important to know that at our school, you are the majority, and really our resources and our kind of energy is really being put toward our undergraduate students. Of course, the benefit of having graduate students as well as graduate schools on your campus, such as the School of Business, the law school, and the medical school downtown, is that as an undergrad, you get access to all of those resources your entire 4 years while you're a student on campus. That is further kind of extended now into our downtown campus, because that is where we have a second part of our campus located. And so right in this picture, you can see kind of that skyline in the background. So roughly 10 minutes away, 2 to 3 miles, you'll find yourself in the heart of downtown Winston-Salem. This is where our extended Wake downtown campus is. This is home to our medical school for graduate students, as well as other graduate school programs, as well as 4 undergrad major degrees offered here, one of those being engineering. So it's a great opportunity to get access to state-of-the-art lab equipment and research opportunities, and again, just to have access to faculty both in the undergrad and grad schools. However, if you are not a STEM student and this is not something that interests you, luckily, 16 different departments teach at our Wake downtown every year. And so even if you're not a STEM student, it's likely that you'll at least get to take one class downtown, which is an exciting way to also just get to know that community, get to know the community that you're living in, not just kind of the Wake Forest home base. And so shifting to talk about that briefly, Winston-Salem is our city here. It's very close. It is known as a city of arts and innovation, and it is not just the home to Wake Forest students, it's also home to 3 other undergrad colleges. And so going downtown is a great way to meet other students, to taste great food, go to local events, concerts. We have a national film festival that comes every year. And so again, kind of encapsulates both of those worlds, the worlds of being a student as well as being someone living in a new city. But I will shift now, going back to where you'll be spending a lot of your time, and that is going to be in the classroom. And so what you can expect from Wake Forest academically is wanting to give you opportunities to really connect with your professors and your faculty members. We do this by making sure that classes have a roughly 20 to 25 students in size. So that's an 11-to-1 ratio. And all of our classes are actually taught by Wake Forest faculty, so by Wake Forest professors. So you're always learning from the source. It is not uncommon, should you talk to a Wake Forest student, for them to tell you experiences of getting invited to dinners at their professors' houses or going to have coffee. I know I was a grad student at Wake, and that was a common thing for me. And so really building those relationships, both professionally and personally, is a real thing that happens for our students in the classroom. We are a liberal arts school, so students actually get 2 years to decide what they want to major in. Students don't declare until the end of your sophomore year. And so if you're coming in unsure, know that you have time to take courses across disciplines. At the end of that time, when students do declare, 90% of our students end up having more than one area of study. So major and a minor, and then over 34% of students end up double and majoring. So again, a lot of opportunities to pursue kind of all the things that you're interested in. So with that being said, I want to transition now to talk about the two other things that Wake is really well known for. The first one being undergraduate research opportunities. And so on our campus, roughly 2/3 of students are involved in research. Of that amount, half of them do research directly alongside a professor, and then the other half get their research fully funded. And so again, lots of opportunities to study what you again, are interested in. We have a lot of opportunities to do research in the STEM field, but some of my favorite are those more niche topics in the humanities. I know a couple years ago, a student did a study abroad in both Scotland and Ireland, where he was studying how folk music affected communities and brought communities together. Another friend of mine who was a theater and psychology student ended up going to England for the summer, where she studied Jane Austen. So again, you really get to dive into that thing that you kind of sparks your energy and excitement when it comes to research. I want to next talk about the fact that our students are really global learners. And so that kind of connected with research, our students love to go abroad. So roughly 75% of students go abroad on Wake's campus. We have 400 programs, 70 different countries. So a lot to choose from. And if you're uncertain where you want to go right away, you can also consider some of our more local, if you will, opportunities here in the US, such as our Wake Washington program and our Wake West program, which probably looks a little bit more familiar. Students will go on these for semester-long experiences where they'll be taking classes as well as doing internships. I'll move a little bit more quickly now to note that you're required to live on campus for 3 years. We guarantee 4, which means it's a really social place to be. Students have access to over 200 clubs and organizations, service opportunities, and we are a D1 school. So that kind of gives you the best of both worlds, both that intimacy as well as big school spirit. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan. Really appreciate that. We're going to move right along now to Boston University. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. If I had shared my screen 10 seconds earlier, you would have heard insane lightning and thunder and lightning going on. My name is Matthew Gallery. I'm a senior assistant director with Boston University undergraduate admissions. First thing I want to do is share a couple of links into the chat, just some information, some handouts, if you will, as well as my contact information. I am the regional representative for Northern California. To start on BU, Boston University is the 4th largest private research and teaching institution in the country with a little over 16,000 undergraduate students. And to start with a little bit about our campus and how that resonates with the community at BU, everything that you see in this backspace here is the city of Boston, and then everything in this space here is our campus. Our campus, of course, being in the city of Boston, but just outside of that downtown part, which does allow for but really the best of both worlds in terms of our campus environment. At BU, you're going to have that urban environment in terms of being able to access all that the city of Boston has to offer, while still having that residential component. We do guarantee housing all 4 years, and that entire space is and does belong to BU. It's a 1.3 mile stretch of land. And we think it's important to maintain that college campus community feel because, again, we're on the larger side. We're over 16,000 undergraduate students. Our students are coming from, of course, all across the US. California is the 3rd most represented state on campus, but truly from all around the globe. Over about a quarter of our students come from an international background from over 120 countries around the world. So at a school like BU, you're going to have so many different languages, cultures, identities, and ultimately, of course, academic pursuits. At BU, we offer over 300 programs across 10 undergraduate schools and colleges, and flexibility to really match that. Meaning if you have multiple interests, you can pursue multiple degree programs. In fact, over 70% of our students will have some form of secondary options, so whether it be a second major, adding on minors, 4+1 master's programs, and just flexibility to be able to match that. A third of our students come in undeclared, so there's no pressure to know what you want to do right from day one. And in fact, we encourage students to be able to take classes across schools and colleges in our liberal arts program called the BU Hub. The BU Hub is really a reimagined look on liberal arts. So rather than having students check off boxes, 2 years in math, 2 years in sciences, 2 years in foreign language, so on and so forth, we encourage students to learn important skills in what we call capacities, things like reading and writing, but in spaces that are going to be interesting and relevant to you. So rather than having every single first-year student take a first-year English class where every single person is studying Shakespeare, we have plenty of that if that is your interest. But we also offer English classes that teach you reading and writing through cybersecurity or national security or the culture of food. You have tons of flexibility in how you go about learning these skills. And again, just ensuring that all of our graduates have it regardless of their major and regardless of their program of study. And of course, your number one resource as you pursue your academics are going to be your professors. At BU, we have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio and an average class size of just 27. So ensuring that you're able to make meaningful connections with your professors. Because our professors have been a part of these industries. They didn't just go from degree to begin teaching at BU. They've been a part of these fields that you're looking to join into. For example, our international relations department has a former CIA agent on staff. Our journalism department has have folks who have been a part of the Boston Globe, ensuring that you're learning from folks who have been in these industries so that they can bring real world experience into the classroom. And then of course, be that first line connection in terms of being able to pay it forward so that you can pursue those professional experiences yourself. In terms of things like research, BU is a tier 1 research institution, which is just a fancy term for there's a lot of money and resources going into that research space, and ensuring that our undergraduates can be a part of that through programs like our Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, or UROP for short. You can come up with your own research proposals of how you want to study, what you want to study, what types of resources, spaces, stipends you may need. And UROP funds undergraduates to the tune of over $1 million annually. And again, it's right in the name, it's the undergraduate program. So all of that funding, all of those resources are going to our undergraduate students. And of course, that's going to be on campus in the STEM fields. We have thousands of laboratory spaces on campus, including the Engineering Product Innovation Center, which you have to take a safety class before you can even use. But you can also take that research abroad. We of course have that cultural experience right on campus, but we encourage our students to get out into the world as well. Just shy of half of our students will study abroad at least once during their undergraduate experience, ensuring that you have the ability to make the most of your time both at BU, as well as engaging in our connections across the world, across the US. We do have partnership programs in DC and New York, in LA, as well as the Bay Area. And also utilizing our active alumni network to have professional opportunities in the form of internships. At BU, about 90% of our graduates will participate in at least one internship prior to graduating. So making sure, again, that you're getting that real world professional experience to be able to pair it alongside your academics and setting you up for success long-term through programs like our Center for Career Development, as well as programs like Handshake, where you can connect with our active alumni network, as well as employers who are looking to seek out BU students. But of course, the city of Boston isn't going to be just professional opportunities. We want students to really make Boston their home. The T runs directly through our campus. The T is our train system, similar to the BART, where you can get into downtown Boston in just 10 to 15 minutes. So making sure you're using your BUID to get free access to museums around the city, $9 tickets to the Red Sox, for example, but also finding your communities on campus. Over 450 clubs and organizations for students to choose to be a part of, guaranteed housing all 4 years. And again, just to make sure that you have community both on campus and in the city of Boston. Thank you all so much and enjoy the rest of the program. Turn back over to Jay.
Thank you so much, Matthew. We are on to our third presenter with Lehigh University.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Morgan Bolkart. I'm the Associate Vice Provost for the Western Region and International Recruitment, and I'm based out here in San Francisco. I am the counselor for students from all of Northern California, as well as my home state of Nevada, and also students all around the world. I'm also a Lehigh alum, and I'm excited to share a bit about Lehigh and hopefully how it's distinctive. So we are a private residential research university. We've got just under 5,200 students. at the undergraduate level. We also have just under 2,000 students at the graduate level. Our students are also coming from all over the world, over 90 countries, 49 states, DC, Puerto Rico, and California is actually our 4th most represented state on our campus. One thing that we do look to foster among our students is a hands-on interdisciplinary learning experience. We're looking to foster really an entrepreneurial mindset as well as a global perspective across all disciplines during your time at Lehigh. We are located in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So this is an aerial shot of our campus and the surrounding area. We have lots to do in the area. You can walk to about 20 different restaurants, over 15 different types of cuisines, lots of festivals, including the largest free music festival in the nation, which is called Music Fest. Any kind of outdoor activity you can think of, as well as an airport just within 10 minutes of campus. We're also within driving distance to New York City and Philly, but our students do spend most of their time on campus since we are very residential and most of our students do live on campus. Academically, you're looking at over 100 different majors offered across 4 undergraduate colleges. Our College of Education is one that's at the graduate level mainly, but you can earn your master's and your bachelor's and be certified to teach within 5 years at Lehigh. Most of our students will come into one of the 4 undergraduate colleges without a major declared. So you have 2 years to sort of figure that out, or you can declare early on and hit the ground running. For me personally, I took full advantage of the flexibility at Lehigh and actually changed my major 3 different times, but was still able to double major within 4 years, while also fitting in study abroad in China, multiple internships, and also playing a Division I sport. So the flexibility really allows for you to take full advantage of the offerings both in the classroom and outside the classroom at Lehigh. And not to mention, we also have a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So you are going to get to know your professors, they're going to get to know you, and ultimately that's going to help you really make the most of your time at Lehigh. Many of our students take advantage of interdisciplinary programs. So I'm not going to mention all of them. There's over 24, but I do want to make mention of some of our popular ones. Our integrated degree in business and engineering is one of them. Another is our computer science and business program, which is the only one dually accredited in both areas. And then our integrated degree in engineering and arts and science. And all of these programs are 4-year degree programs as well. A common component across all of our students is that hands-on approach to learning that I mentioned earlier. And that could be through things like co-ops or internships, but also through research and projects. So our mountaintop experience, I think, is pretty unique. You'll find these massive maker spaces on the top of the mountain that Lehigh's built on the side of, and they look like what you see in this picture. And we have 3 buildings that look like that, where students are literally bringing to life ideas that they've had, things that typically nobody's ever tried to do before. They propose their ideas, we give them funding and resources, they have a faculty advisor, and then they work in these spaces in their spare time to bring those ideas to life. And often those are in interdisciplinary teams. There's no credit attached to these, no grades. The idea is that our students will, in that case, not be afraid to fail, right? There's no bad grades. They'll take more risks and be more creative and more entrepreneurial in a way that they may not be able to do in the typical classroom setting. But they're also applying their learning, of course, through internships and co-ops, as I mentioned. So these are just some of the companies that we work with out here on the West Coast that we partner with, place students in internships. And you'll see we have 2 offices here, our Western Regional Office in Foster City, and then I'll talk a little bit about the Lehigh and NASDAQ Center as well. But in terms of co-ops, our students in engineering typically do a co-op in the junior year, which is 8 months long, where they work full time, they get paid a regular salary, and also are still able to graduate in 4 years. So that's pretty unique. Our staff out on the West Coast, again, are helping our students stay connected to the networks here, the job opportunities, the internships, research, you name it. We have this physical space in partnership with the with the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, and we call it Lehigh at NASDAQ. And that's right in the financial district. A lot of our students take classes there, do workshops, and also we have an internship program through the center where students actually live for 8 to 10 weeks in the city during the summertime. Their housing is fully funded, as well as they get a stipend to live off of. And then finally, that global perspective is really important to us, not only through study abroad, fully funded internships in the summertime overseas, but also our United Nations partnership allows students really easy access to the UN. Every Thursday, they can attend the weekly briefings at the UN, and we take them there. We have students who intern at the UN every year, as well as many students who serve as youth representatives for NGOs all around the world at the United Nations through our partnership. And finally, you're doing all of this with a backdrop of a campus with over 200 clubs, organizations, Greek life, Division I sports, tons of school spirit and traditions. And I look forward to continuing the conversation with you. I will throw my information in the chat. And thank you so much for having me this evening.
Thank you, Morgan. Really appreciate that. We are now halfway through our evening, and just as a reminder, you can use that Q&A button to ask questions to our presenters. If you have anything for a specific school, we would love to hear it. But Sarah Lawrence College, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Liam George, and I am an admission counselor at Sarah Lawrence, and excited to talk to you about the college a little bit today. Just going to talk a little bit about the basics and then move into some more in-depth information about the academic model. So Sarah Lawrence College is a liberal arts and sciences institution of about 1,350 students, located just 15 miles north of Manhattan, as you can see in the map on the left. So you have this kind of great balance between having access to New York City when you want to take advantage of it, but the campus itself has that more traditional liberal arts campus vibe and experience. So if you look at the map, this blue line that goes from the top right down to bottom left is the Metro North's Harlem line, the train that takes about 30 to 35 minutes right from Bronxville Station into Grand Central Terminal. So students are able to take advantage of that both for recreational purposes as well as for internships, and they can do that very easily. I always like to emphasize, though, that really New York City is a supplement to student life and not the focal point. Most of the things that happen are happening on the campus itself. And we find that students go into the city about once a month on average. Obviously, some students go more, some students go less, but that really is the typical experience of our students. But what I want to spend most of the time talking about tonight is the academic model. This picture here comes from one of our seminar conference courses, of which about 90% of our academic courses follow this model. The seminar is a roundtable discussion-based class that averages 12 students and caps at 15. So it's always really intimate and really interactive, and gives a great opportunity for students to bounce ideas off of one another, as well as off of the professor directly. In addition to that, students also have an opportunity to meet individually with their professor every other week for about 30 to 45 minutes during a time known as conferences. And so what a conference looks like will vary a little bit from the beginning to the end of the semester. But at the beginning, you'll get to know one another. You'll start asking questions about course readings and course materials if you have them, and also starting to make connections to current events and your other academic studies. The main focus of this time in the conferences, though, is to start thinking about a larger independent project based on your own interests. So this is really your opportunity to hop in the driver's seat and take control of your studies. So we have students in writing courses, creating portfolios of short stories, poetry, and chapters of their novel. You might see students in foreign language courses doing translations of texts, whereas students in the sciences might do some hands-on scientific research. It is, again, meant to be a reflection of what you are most interested and passionate about. So it doesn't have to be exactly in line with the course curriculum, and is very much encouraged to be interdisciplinary. The only exception in terms of the academic courses are about 10% of our courses that are taught in a small lecture format. Those are usually between about 25 and 35 students and are still taught by professors, never TAs or graduate students teaching any of those courses. And instead of having the individual conference component to those courses, you instead meet with a small group of about 8 or 10 group conferences every other week, just like you would for your regular conference. Then the only exception to either of those two academic styles come in the performing arts, which is a more conservatory structure in nature. Because you're doing a little bit more work in each of your classes, we grant 5 credits for each class that you take, and you're only taking 3 at a time. So you're doing the same amount of total work, but it's just a slightly different distribution of those credits, where it allows you to dig a little bit deeper into each subject area and not stretch yourself quite so thin. The other thing that I want to spend my time talking about, though, is the curriculum itself and some of those unique features. So we have an open curriculum in which every student designs their own course of study. I think most students have at least heard the term open curriculum before, but we rarely take the time to actually pause and define exactly what that means. And so there's three things that I'd point to. First, before you ever step foot on the campus, the open curriculum comes in the form of the application. When you apply to the school, you're applying to the college as a whole and not to a specific program. And so when you're admitted into the college, you have gained access into every class and every program that we offer. Secondly, no matter what your main focus area is, you still have access to the rest of the courses as you see fit. So it's not unusual at all to find students who are studying to, they're pre-med, but they're also taking another language. They might be interested in both philosophy and music. These combinations are very typical at Sarah Lawrence. Thirdly, we also don't reserve seating in our courses for students just studying that specific subject area. Instead, you'll have every single class have a good kind of balance between historians, linguists, philosophers, mathematicians, and scientists all coming together and bringing something slightly different to the table. But because of that, creating a very dynamic atmosphere where students are learning as much from their peers as they are from their professor. Sarah Lawrence takes the idea of the open curriculum one step further by having every student design their own course of study. And so the way that this works is that rather than having a more traditional major minor structure, where you have kind of predetermined courses that are required for every program, instead students will work directly with a faculty mentor to pick and choose courses on a case-by-case basis to figure out which really are the ones that are best suited for you based on what your goals are post-graduation. So on the one hand, this guarantees that you'll have a lot more autonomy in course selection. But on the other hand, because you have that advisor, you'll make sure that you are taking all of the courses that really will be imperative to be a competitive applicant to a job or a graduate school when you finish. Most students have at least 2 different focuses. So just like you could double major or major minor at another institution, you can certainly do the equivalent at Sarah Lawrence. It's just simply not called that. We typically refer to these as focuses or concentrations. So with that, I'm going to put my contact information up on the screen. I hope that was enjoyable and interesting, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Liam. We are going to move right along now to St. Olaf College. Go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. One second here. All right. So my name is Maggie Matson Larson, and I am one of the Associate Deans of Admission at St. Olaf College. We are a small liberal arts college located in Northfield, Minnesota. So we're about 45 minutes south of Minneapolis and St. Paul. So south of the metro area with 3 million people, which is the second largest sort of urban area outside of Chicago in the Midwest. So a lot of offerings in Minneapolis, St. Paul, a lot of things to do. We have the international airport right there, about 40 minutes from campus. But we are definitely on our own, on top of a hill in our own small town. Northfield itself is about 20,000 people. We share the town. We're about a mile away from Carleton College. So you'll have 2 small private liberal arts colleges in one small town. So a lot of kind of unique things happen in that way as well. And yes, it does get cold. We are not bordering Canada. We are in southern Minnesota, but we do have all 4 seasons. We have them all robustly. As California students, we definitely have a bunch of students from California. We have students from all outside of the world, or outside of the US as well, all around the world. So we have students coming from all sorts of climates. Like we say, it's not no bad weather, just bad gear. So you would learn how to adapt and how to build a skill about how to kind of live through winter. So you can see campus here at its wintry glory. A little bit about our academic program. So I mentioned we are a liberal arts college. That means that students come to St. Olaf with a very wide variety of interests. So you can come to St. Olaf knowing exactly what you want to do and being open to the fact that that might change. You might take a class that inspires you and you go a different direction. Or you might come and you might be very multi-interested. So that means that you are going to be open to exploring maybe a little bit more. Most students declare their major at St. Olaf by the end of their sophomore year. So you have those 2 first years to explore, to take general education courses, but also courses kind of all across the curriculum and things that you're interested in and things that you want to discover. We have over 85 majors, programs, and concentrations, which are our version of a minor as well. And we do have a 4-1-4 academic calendar. So students are taking 4 classes in the fall semester and 4 classes in the spring semester, and then 1 class during the month of January. So that's called our interim that 1 month. Interim or J term, you'll hear that term as well. You can take one class on campus, or you can study abroad. So we offer at least one program in every academic department. Most of those study abroad opportunities are through St. Olaf. So you're going with St. Olaf students and St. Olaf professors. They're incredible experiential learning opportunities. And about a third of our students are involved with music in some way. So we have, of our 3,000 students, 1,000 students who are musicians at St. Olaf, but only about 8% of those students actually major in music. So it is very popular. If any of you are interested in, I love music, I don't want to major in it, maybe I'll major in biology, which is our most popular major. So be a bio major, but be in the St. Olaf Orchestra and tour nationally and internationally. And that is something that is definitely an option for you. You can also major and major in music in two ways. So you could be a Bachelor of Arts in music, or you could be a Bachelor of Music degree, which is a little bit more conservatory style. So you can have that sort of intense conservatory style experience, but still within the liberal arts setting. A little bit more about our community. So I did graduate from St. Olaf myself. The community, it was my favorite part of it. The people who make up, the faculty, the staff, your classmates, the people that you live with, they all really impact those 4 years and for the rest of your life, honestly. So 95% of our 3,000 students live on campus for all 4 years. There is a required residential component early on, but generally students know that this is just kind of part of the experience. So they actually love living on campus. We have a variety of residence halls to serve students. We do have the one campus dining hall. You can see there is a photo there. It's kind of lit up there. We have one cafeteria to serve all of our students, and that's because students really love eating together and sharing a meal together. Our students are also very, very involved. So for 3,000 undergraduate students, we have over 200 clubs and organizations. We are a Division III athletic school. And so we have definitely a big number of students involved with sports, but we also have a lot of intramural activities as well. So it's a pretty active campus. We are surrounded also by about 350 acres of natural lands. So students really love to go running or snowshoeing or skiing on the trails. A little bit more about outcomes and support. So sometimes we hear, liberal arts college, that how am I ever going to be able to figure out what I want to do, and how is that going to get me where I want to go? And we are very intentional in making sure that after your 4 years, you are where you want to be, whether you are going to graduate school, medical school, maybe you're going into the Peace Corps, maybe you get a job right out of college. So 97% of our students within 9 months of graduation are employed or continuing their studies. And so that is a really important thing for us to do. We're very intentional about preparing you for life after graduation. 92% of our students complete some kind of experiential learning. So whether it's an internship or job shadow, pre-med and pre-health is very popular at St. Olaf. We're also 45 minutes away from not just the Twin Cities, but the Mayo Clinic. So a lot of opportunities created just for St. Olaf students. We have programs through the Piper Center for Vocation and Career, like the Connections program, which is pictured here in Los Angeles. Connections programs go to major cities all around the US to connect St. Olaf students with alumni, friends of the college, and really start giving them the opportunities to dive in deep with exploring a potential future career. So that is something that is very important, and you can get started on that from the moment you step foot on campus. And even if it is after you graduate, you can come back. The Piper Center serves graduates as long as you want. A little bit about our admissions process. You can see this is my favorite building on campus. This is where the Hogwarts comparisons come from, Holland Hall, our social sciences building. But a little bit more about our admissions process. We do have 2 rounds of early decision, 1 round of early action, and regular decision. So keep up with those deadlines. Make sure that you know the deadlines of the colleges you're applying to. We have a very robust need-based financial aid. So we are committed to meeting 100% of demonstrated financial need. Almost 80% of our students do receive financial aid as well. And almost all of our students, 98%, receive some kind of a St. Olaf grant, so either need-based or a scholarship. We also provide the opportunity for students to apply for fine arts scholarships. So art, dance, music, and theater, regardless of your intent to be a major, you can apply for these scholarships and receive them in addition to any merit scholarships as well.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Really appreciate that.
All right, thanks.
We do have to move on to our next presenter with Purdue University. Thank you so much.
All right, so my name is Sarah Sari. I work for Purdue University, obviously, and I'm actually based here locally in the Bay Area. So if you have any specific questions, feel free to direct them to me, since I am in the same time zone as you all, as opposed to 3 hours ahead on campus. A little bit about Purdue. We are a large institution. As you can see, we have a lot of students on campus, but we have also a lot of professors to help support you guys in your college experience. So our average class size is only about 30 students, so really similar academically to probably what you're used to now in high school. In addition, our student to teacher ratio is about 13:1. So our students have a lot of opportunities to really access their professors, whether it's through office hours, coffee chats, going out to dinner with your floor, anything like that. As far as diversity goes, we have quite a few students from all over the globe, right in this melting pot of a university in the heart of the Midwest. So we have students from all 50 states, plus over 120 other different countries as well. Fun fact, California is actually our third largest state represented at Purdue, and most of those California students honestly are coming from the Bay Area. So more likely than not, you'll probably know a few familiar faces before you even start your first Purdue course. As far as our location, we are actually in West Lafayette, Indiana, not Lafayette, California. We're about an hour from Indianapolis, about 2 hours from Chicago. We are in a quintessential college town, but there's plenty of things for you to do on a typical Friday night, whether it's music and arts festivals, a great restaurant scene, concerts, comedians, Broadway shows, professional lecture series, you name it. If you ever want a city fix, it's easy to pop up to Chicago for some deep dish, maybe go down to Indianapolis, walk around the canal, enjoy a Colts game, anything like that. As far as transportation from the Bay Area to campus, we do have shuttles that take students from both Chicago O'Hare airports and Indianapolis International right to Purdue. So it's really easy for you guys to make any kind of flights you're looking for. With more about our community itself, as I mentioned earlier, students have a lot of opportunities to really connect with their professors, but they also have a lot of opportunities to connect to research as well. We are a Tier 1 research institution, so we have over 2,000 opportunities to get involved in research outside of the classroom. And it's not just all STEM focused. We do have communication-based research, health research, anything like that. A huge College of Agriculture, directed nursing program, anything you're looking for. A few of our students we have featured here. On the far left here is Alexis Roberts. She was actually a student in our biology program. We have 9 different majors within our biology department, and she just did our general biology curriculum. So as far as some of the research that she was involved in, she actually studied jaw biomechanics of sculpins, which are a type of fish that you see featured in the photo there. But a unique thing about her research experience is that she was able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak, in that she was able to study abroad in the Caribbean while also doing her research project. So she's able to lay on the beach, do some research, earn some Purdue credit. What can go wrong with that? Then the third student featured from the left there is SJ. He's a student in electrical engineering technology. And as you can see in the picture, he actually did some research partnering with the brand Tupperware to help develop some smart Tupperware to really tell maybe your smart refrigerator or tell you on your app how perishable your food is, how much longer it's going to last, when you should add it to your grocery list, anything like that. So there's a lot of very innovative research going on our campus as we speak. And then a question I often get asked from students is, where can I end up for a job or internship? Am I in the Midwest? Can I go internationally? The answer is yes, you can go anywhere you're looking to go. With our Center for Career Opportunities, or CCO, that's the main hub for jobs, internships, interviews, any support you're looking for. We actually host the largest student-run career fair in the country called the Industrial Roundtable, which brings over 400 companies from all over the world to campus for that fair alone. In addition, you have fairs for each of your academic colleges in your majors specifically, but some of the companies that frequent our campus, Facebook, Google, PwC, Lockheed Martin, Walt Disney Company, Goldman Sachs, you name it. So a lot of opportunities for students to even come back here locally to the Bay Area. With student involvement, really we have anything under the sun. As you can see, we do have close to 1,000 clubs and organizations, which I know sounds like a lot. But we have anything from bands, orchestras, and choirs, a huge Greek community, philanthropic organizations, to more social clubs, like maybe a Pet a Puppy club or a Quidditch team. Fun fact, that photo on the far right there of the train, that's our official mascot. It's called the Boilermaker Special. So it's the largest mascot in the country. And we have a club of students called the Reamer Club, who takes a group of students around campus every Friday before home football games to cheer on our football team, shout the fight song, yell at pedestrians on the street, Boiler Up, which is the cheer that we have at Purdue. We do have over 200 majors. Some of our more popular programs are going to be engineering, computer science, direct admit nursing, professional flight, as well as business. But like I said, if there's something I didn't mention that you're looking for, odds are we have it. A couple of things to mention with application evaluation. Number one, we are test flexible for this next year. So that means if you have a test score, great, we'd love to see it. If not, you're still competitive for admissions, scholarships, honors college, everything like that. Make sure you try to apply by November 1st, which is our early action deadline. It's non-binding. And then last but not least, tuition. More importantly, our frozen tuition. So we've had 10 consecutive years of frozen tuition, which means we've not had a single tuition hike since 2012. In fact, we've reduced the cost of room and board since 2012. So it's cheaper for you to attend Purdue now than it was when I graduated. Please don't do the math to figure out how old I am, but that just goes to show you how much we value reducing student loan debt for our students. So thank you guys so much for joining us here this evening, and I'll include my contact information in the chat.
Beautiful, thank you so much. We have just a couple of minutes here, and I do want to invite all of my presenters up to ask you all a quick question, and so we can get this wrapped up here. But what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? Wake Forest, what do you have to say there?
Thank you, Jay. I would say, and hopefully you all got the sense of this today after having heard all of us talk, that the admissions process is a very personal thing for you. But obviously there's also real people on the other side of that process. So knowing that, if there's certain colleges that you're interested in, that all you have to do is reach out and connect with them. I know Matthew mentioned this earlier, being the regional dean for this area. I'm assuming most of us are, which is why we're all meeting with you today. And so now you officially know somebody from one of these 6 colleges. And so feel free to reach out. You're your best advocate, and know that colleges do want to hear from you. So that would be my advice moving forward in your college search.
Great. And what about you, Boston University?
Yeah, I would say piggybacking off that, just take advantage of all the resources that you have available to you. That's going to include your regional admissions officers. And in terms of actually exploring campuses, I want to say kudos to all of you for going through one of the strangest, if not most difficult college searches of all time. But what's really been a silver lining of all of this is it's really forced all of us to reimagine exploring our campuses and exploring our campus communities. So it has been a bit of a, for lack of a better way to phrase it, blessing in disguise to be able to put all of these programs online and make sure it's available to students without actually having to visit, cross country. And take advantage of as many programs as you can. Learn from students, learn from faculty, attend different types of programs so you get as many perspectives as possible.
Great, thanks. What about you, Lehigh University?
Yeah, so speaking of all these different programs and sessions that we're offering virtually and also starting to offer on some of our campuses. So, reach out and ask if you would like to visit what we're doing to accommodate visitors. But if not, also, I would say keep an eye out for sessions that will help you through the application process. So you can learn about us through a lot of different sessions, but you can also learn more about holistic admissions, financial aid, how to write an essay, supplemental essays, the list goes on, and many of us are hosting webinars like that. So keep an eye out.
Great. Sarah Lawrence.
Yeah, I always like to advise students to break some of their own rules every once in a while. I know that students often have an idea in their head that they want to go to a certain size school or a school in a certain location. And you should absolutely look at schools that meet all of your criteria, but don't let that be the end of your research. So look at some schools that will offer some contrast and really let it go against the grain and really figure out by that contrast, which are these things that actually are most important to you.
Great. And St. Olaf College.
Yeah, I think I would definitely advise that students get to chat with a current student at whatever school you're looking at. So whether that is formally through admissions, a lot of student workers are right there ready to talk and excited to talk to you. Or if you know somebody who goes to the school, you get no better sort of sense of what's going on campus and the vibe and sort of the good and the bad about colleges than talking to current students. Obviously, in addition to your admissions officer.
Great. And Purdue University, what do you have to finish us out with?
Make sure to pay attention to deadlines. I know it sounds very common sense, but deadlines are very important in admission. So a great kind of practical tip on how to stay on top of that is create a Google Sheet, because you can take that Google Sheet with you on your phone on a tour or with that virtual experience, whatever you're attending, and kind of take notes during your experience. But also you have that one home base for all that basic information, as opposed to trying to find it on each individual institution's website.
Great, thank you. Well, I am going to close us out here and say thank you to all 6 of you for bringing such great information about your great schools. And thank you to all of you who are here live. When you close out, there will be a short 4-question survey that we at StriveScan would love your feedback on this fair, on this particular session. Anything that you're willing to give us, we would love to know. Also, this is just one of many sessions happening, another one happening this evening, and other sessions always happening with some other great schools. But within about 1 week, you'll be able to get this recording if you need it at strivescan.com/BACS. I'm going to stop sharing and you all have a wonderful night. Bye now.
Thanks, guys.